Hey, thank you for coming. Bravo. Thanks for coming. It's a very special occasion for the ICT Hub and for me personally. First, because I participate in this, let's say, yearly celebration of meetups, but also because I'm so happy tonight to have a very good friend with me here, Dr. Gillian Ney, which I think at the end of the presentation, she will jump in, she will be the guest appearance of the evening, and she will share with you some extremely cutting-edge topics on social media intelligence. Okay, I met Gillian in April when I was in Glasgow delivering my TEDx. She was there as well. This is where I met her, and she had the first TEDx of the day. And I don't know if you participated in any TED, but the first is really the difficult one. You know, nobody has tested the water, nobody has seen the temperature of the room, the ambience, nobody. And she was the first one, but she nailed it. She was amazing. And since then, we're doing many things together, and I hope we will continue, right? Yes. So be kind and polite. Okay. So, brands, brains, and billions. What do you think we will talk about? Anything, what comes into mind? In that order, or you prefer another order? What do you think about brands? You, great. Because I want to make it clear from the beginning, I'm not here to discuss brand design, or logos, or the specific words that magically will make your brand become the wow in the world. And I will not do this for two reasons. First of all, Belgrade and Serbia has fantastic agencies, has fantastic designers. You know, they can do this for you. Okay? And the second, I'm a little bit more strategic than that. I would like a little bit to step back and see the real meaning of all these three words. The real meaning of brands, the real meaning of the brain, and of course, let's see what is the upside, and I'm sorry to say, even the downside of billions. Can there be a downside to billions? You choose the currency, let's say dollars. Can there be a downside? Well, there can. There is. I will show it to you. And I hope then we will be much more clever and careful what to do with billions. Okay? But the first thing I would like to talk to you about is this. For the first time in human history or in human economy, in 2014, a company comes, and it is the first company, nice song by the way. Is it an apple or is... And it is the first in the human history to break the barrier of this number, $700 billion market valuation. First, ever. Now, by itself, this might sound, okay, so what is the big thing here? Well, it becomes interesting if you compare this number with the company that for all human history was the first to break the $1 billion market valuation. The $1 billion. And this was in 1910. Can you please tell me what company this was?
Standard Oil.
Standard Oil, good. Anything else?
US Steel.
Ford US Steel, bravo. A company that used to be here, close to here, to Smederevo, I think. Okay, so US Steel. Now, you said Standard Oil, who said Standard Oil? After US Steel, we had other similar companies. Companies that they belong to a specific type of market. How do we call these companies? US Steel, Standard Oil, ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil was for many years the company with the highest market valuation or market capitalization. What do these companies do? What do they trade? What is their industry? How do we call these products? Like oil and steel and coal. Close, because steel is not energy. Yes, raw materials, but they have in economics they have a different word.
B2B sales.
B2B, okay. Well, they can be also oil selling to the final consumer, but yes, most of them. How do we call them in economics? Resources, close, Kaha? Commodities, excellent. These are all commodities. Now, if you were to become big in commodities, if you wanted to be the company with the highest market capitalization, you wanted to be like Standard Oil, you wanted to be like ExxonMobil, you wanted to be like US Steel, what did you need to have? Which were your key competencies or your assets? How companies made it big in commodities? What did you need to have?
By bribing government?
But usually this is my third option, but okay, let's put it first. What else? What do you need to have to become the next Standard Oil? Demand, okay, yes. Commodities, energy, raw materials, so you know that the demand is there. But what else? As a company, what are my weapons? What are my tools?
You need to have people.
You need to have people, okay. What do you think? Machines, excellent. You needed machines. Now, can I be a coal company? Can I be an oil company if I don't have the wells to bring the oil out? So I needed also land. I needed cash. I needed big. I needed to create warehouses and transportation and systems and production. All these kind of things. These kind of things made companies big back then. But what about now? If I ask you all together how many we are tonight, I don't know, 70, 80, 100. Let's create the new Apple. Let's become the new Apple. What resources do we need? Idea, great. What else? People, but different people like the previous model. In the previous model, how were we calling people? Engineers. How were we calling the department that dealt with people? HR, human resource, because humans were just another resource. How do you have raw materials, machines, equipment, cars? You had also people, because people were just one clog of the whole machine. But this is not the same with Apple. So if we are to become Apple, what do we need? Idea, somebody said. People, great. What else? Brand. What does it mean? Any ideas? Means Apple has a brand. What does it mean? What is the consequence of having a brand?
A name.
Or what is, okay, name, design, all these are brand elements.
People know why are they doing it.
Okay, why they do it?
Emotion.
Recognition, emotion. Okay. So, do you think, if I was in the previous economy, let's call it economy 1.0, if I was in this economy, if I had a lot of cash, access to land, bribing politicians, and all these resources, could I be big? Most probably. Very few barriers after that. Let's all together bring all our money and resources and ideas to create Apple. Will we be able to create Apple?
Maybe.
Maybe. Do you think that others tried up to now to create Apple? Hey, hello. No worries. And they didn't manage. They didn't manage because the assets needed in this economy to make it big were tangible. And tangible assets you can copy. Apple, or let's call it economy 2.0, or even now close to 3.0, it's not based on tangible assets, it's based on intangible assets. Can we copy intangible assets? Can we copy people? I mean, sometimes you even steal the people, means you give them more money to come with you. And they don't perform the same. They don't have the same ideas. The brand, can we copy? Can we tomorrow create the new Apple? Well, you will see the list with the companies with most and highest market capitalization. You will be very difficult and it will be very hard to find another telco. Where is the new Apple then? Because Apple is not based on tangible assets. It's based on intangible. And this is what brand comes to represent. And I will show you, this is the list. You see that Apple, mid-2000, and you can see, maybe with binoculars, I will tell you, Apple was the top with a little bit later 725. Second, Google. Now Google is first, we will see. Third, ExxonMobil, which fell from second. and it will fall, fall, fall. Why? Because the new economy is an economy light in assets. And being light in assets means you are based more in people, ideas, innovation, brand creation. And this we cannot copy. So in the economy 1.0, copying was easy, fast. Of course, you need to have the money and everything else, but if you had these tangible resources, you could do it. Nowadays, even if you have all the money in the world, nobody can guarantee that you will make it. Because it's the intangible power you have. And let's evaluate this. Now, I said Apple is the highest market capitalization, was until 3 weeks ago. What does market capitalization mean? Does anybody know?
Value of the stock.
Excellent. So if at that day I wanted to buy Apple, what would I do? I would go to the stock market at a specific moment, buy all the shares. In order to buy all the shares at this specific moment, I had to spend 725 million. And here is the trick. If I wanted to buy Apple, and I sent my auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, to go to Apple, and I said, guys, go to Apple, evaluate everything, and come back and tell me how much this company costs. You know, I have enough money with me, I want to buy it. They would go, and although the market capitalization is this, the auditors will check how much the machines cost, how much Apple has in stock in the warehouses, how much cash they have, etc., etc., etc. They will come back to me and say, Nikos, you know what we found? In order to buy Apple today, all the tangible assets they have, you need to give 172 billion. Great. So I go to Apple and say, guys, my auditor said 172 billion. I'll give you 1 billion more because, 173. Will you sell me Apple? And they would say, no, 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 no. I said, how much you want? 725. I would say, no, you're crazy. You're completely crazy. But whatever you own, whatever I can see, smell, resell, is 172. Why are you asking me 725? What is this crazy? And you're not asking me 10% more. You're not asking me 20% more. You're not asking me 100% more. It's 5 times more. What the hell is happening? What is this difference? The brand. And where does the brand live? Does it live in a logo? Does it live in equipment? Bravo, in the brains of both your customers and of your people. So look what Apple and some other companies have done in the economy 2.0. Let's call it 2.0. They have taken the previous important assets, and from this very much smaller amount of assets, they create huge value. And when they sell the company, they will sell it for a premium because of human power, brain power, both inside and outside. And just for comparison, this is the market capitalization of ExxonMobil, 357. How much money or assets do you think they need to produce this, which is half of the capitalization of Apple? How much they need?
50.
This would be great. There would be 3.0 company. 300. Do you see it? Do you see the different type of economies? This is an old economy. This is an economy that needs a lot of weights. I would say it's like weights. You carry weights in order to produce a little bit of value. In the new economy, you need much less weights. You have to be more flexible, more light in assets. Less friction. The less assets you have, the more flexible you are. Because there is less friction between everything that you own. But it produces much more value. So if you were an investor, where would you go? This company or this? Because which company would take $1 of yours and create more? Much, much more. Of course, Apple. And you might tell me, yes, but as an investor, I don't know if in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, Apple would be big. Right, correct. But that's not the point. The point is there would be another type of Apple with the same kind of crazy little assets that has mind-blowing value. And this is actually what Alphabet has done, which is Google. Okay, so this difference, it's brand. Anybody here a marketeer, or in communications, or in PR, in research, sales, the whole marketing function wider? Okay. If you want to see who is a good marketeer, you check this difference. You know what is the job of a marketeer? To take a company and multiply its value by not increasing so much the assets. That's branding. That's brand strategy. This is what we call now brand equity. You've heard of brand equity? Brand equity now, in 1980s, it was called something like goodwill. It's an accounting measure. There is also methodology now, also, specific methodology accepted in the European Union, where you come, you measure exactly your brand equity, and when I come and say, I want to buy your company, you tell me, yeah, but you're not going to give me only how much this tangible asset, you're going to give me a premium. Why am I going to give you a premium? Because I have this fantastic marketeer that created brand value. But that's not how marketeers think, unfortunately. This is not how many companies think. Up to now, it's changing. Now more and more we understand what's the real role of marketing. If you don't create this brand equity boost, there is no marketing. There is no branding. Even in commodities. I've worked with companies like Holcim, the cement and concrete. They invest a lot and they take extra care of their brand. And it is cement. I mean, if you think of cement, everybody thinks that cement is the same. So all commodities, how do you choose commodities? When you buy commodities as a customer or a consumer, which is the main factor that you differentiate between two offers? Price. Because exactly an undifferentiated product, the perception is that there is no difference. So it has to be price, or could be also convenience. Something is very far away, something is okay, I will pay a little bit more. That's commodities. This is this business. But marketing people, whatever their title is, their job is to take this and create such passion that when somebody will come to evaluate financially the company, they will not say, I increased my profits, I increased my sales, I have from 100,000 likes, 500,000 likes on my Facebook. Who gives a damn? That's business. And if you go back in a few years ago when there was a study, what CEOs think of marketeers? Do you think CEOs like marketeers? No. They love marketing. Marketing. All latest studies show that CEOs think that the future is marketing, but they don't like marketeers. You see the paradox? Eh?
Which is odd.
It's very odd. So they think that marketing will save the company, will create the biggest value by brands, by building this intangible obsession on your clients to buy this. But they don't think that marketers are very good in doing this. That's crazy. And this is where marketeers now have an opportunity with the things that we'll discuss, the things that Gillian will present you, to become more reliable. So 80%, the study showed, 80% of CEOs do not trust marketeers. 91% of the same CEOs love the opinions and trust the opinions of CFOs, finance people, and CIOs, CTOs and CIOs. When it comes to marketing, they walk on the corridor, marketeer appears, the CEO is hiding. Not to meet the marketeer. It's the pink fluffy stuff. Well, not anymore. Marketing is creating this brand equity. So whenever you want to see, do I have good marketing? Is my marketing working? Do I have a strong brand? Don't go into this fluffy stuff that usually marketeers measure. And I've been a marketer for 20 years, so I admit this. Go to real business value. In the same study, CEO said, we don't trust marketeers, but we trust business understanding and speaking marketeers. Marketeers that they are not allowing their department to deal only with the tactics and the logos and the next banner ad. That's okay. But does all this make my company more valuable? If not, I don't have a brand. I just have some tactics. Okay? And it's not only this. You see in other type of companies, Amazon, it has 250 billion market valuation. Assets, 35 billion only. Same company, in the same industry competitor, Walmart, 250 billion, same. But how much Walmart assets needs? 5 times the assets of Amazon. 5 times to create the same value. And by the way, this is value today, real value. It's not projected value, because the big problem with the billions of the startups is the projected value, the projected billions, which we will see in a bit. So we get it. This is what brands are all about. Brands is not about nice stories, design. All these are good tactics, tools to create something. But what you need to create is value for your company. So, once again, why Amazon is charging me 215 billion more than what it owns? You said because I have a brand. What does this mean? What do I buy? If I had to buy Amazon, why am I buying Amazon and I'm okay to give this price? What is this difference mean actually for me as the new owner of Amazon? Yes?
You're buying their customers.
Bravo, that's exactly. I'm buying customers. Because who gives the value of this company? Let's say nobody bought from Amazon today. Nobody bought from Amazon tomorrow. Nobody buys from Amazon in 3 days. You know what will be the market capitalization of Amazon?
35.
And then, one more month, nobody buys. What is the market capitalization of Amazon? Nulla. Nulla. Nobody will buy. So why should I ever buy? So they will come, as US still did, and buy the company for 1 cent. And then they sold it also for 1 cent. 1 dinar. Because value for a company, and this is what I want to get out of your heads, value for a company is not the tangible assets we own. That's not value. It was never measured like that, and it will never, especially now. Value for a company is clearly the brand. Is the brand strong? People will pay more money to acquire a piece of Amazon. You have no brand means you have no crazy, insane people that tattoo your brand. They take a haircut with your logo. You have this kind of people? I will pay you all the money in the world. Okay. So brand equals business, which means it's good news for marketeers. That's our time to shine. Because who cares about the brand in the company? Who is the brand guardian, the brand developer, the brand pusher, the brand evaluator? It's the marketing people. So since brand equals business, that's our time. If you are in marketing, that's the time to shine. But we have to become reliable. To become reliable, we need the right tools, we need the right methodology. Okay, so look at Coca-Cola. This is how much is the market capitalization of Coca-Cola. This is how much is the assets. All the other is the brand. Because if I buy Coca-Cola today, I know that tomorrow millions of families will still go to the supermarket and buy. This is what defines a company. This is what makes a company valuable. Nothing else. Don't allow anybody else. I don't know if you come from finance or engineering. All this is great. We need it. We love you all. Group hug. Much, much. But what really gives value to a company? Is there a customer to buy it? And not to buy it once, to be crazy about you. To buy you again and again and to say, that's it, I don't want anything else on my life. And it's not only B2C. I'm not talking only about products and services that are to customers, to consumers. I'm talking about B2B as well. The fact that I know somebody in that company that sells me this and I said I will never buy from everywhere else because when I call Nikos that sells this, even if it is 3 o'clock in the morning, he will get up and he will serve me. That's also branding. Because a brand is actually, in the brain, a relationship, an attachment, an association. This is what it is. Is this attachment with a logo, with a phone, with a service? Okay, but it might be also with actual people, in banking, for example. Okay. And by the way, we will see it in a bit. This is what brands are all about. This is why the market capitalization is so high for both Amazon, for Apple, because there are people that they will stay 2-3 nights outside in the cold buying the new thing. This is what makes the company with a strong brand. That's the only way to measure it. That's the only way to measure it as an investor. I'm not talking to you now as a marketeer. As an investor, if I want to buy Apple, okay? And the great thing is, and of course it's all about the brand. Huh? It's all about the brand. Brand, whenever you think brand, think business. There's no other way to see it. And the crazy thing, what is Apple making? What is Apple producing?
Phones, tablets, computers.
Only 0.4 of their products are produced by Apple. 99.6 are produced by our friends, the Chinese. Okay. By the way, Foxconn, the same company that produces other phones as well. So Apple produces actually nothing. Now, don't be mistaken here. Don't be fooled. Do you think that Apple, if they knew that this is a strategic asset, production, they would give it away? I will remind you, because most of you are very young, in the almost 35 years ago, a very big company made an outsourcing mistake. It's one of the most famous case studies in business schools. It was IBM. IBM decided, one moment, to outsource the processor to Intel and the software to Microsoft. Who are now bigger companies? IBM is much smaller than both Intel and Microsoft. So what is this case about? Wrong outsourcing. You never outsource strategic processes. Never, 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 never. So for Apple to give away production means that it's not a strategic process. Which is a strategic process of Apple, if it's not production? Although they sell tangible things. I mean, they sell tablet at the end of the day. And music, of course, through iStore, iTunes. Brand. So brand. Peter Drucker, I think, said the only two things you need in a company is innovation and marketing, all the other outsource. And that's true. Production became a commodity by itself. This is why countries fight from each other to take production. No, one country comes, I give you the land for free, bring the factory here. No, another country comes, I'll give you everything for free. You know, my women and kids, and just bring the factory here. I'm not talking about this country, of course, okay? I'm talking about other countries. Just bring the factory, regardless if we will never make any real profit. Because now production is commodity. Again, small asterisk. This does not mean that the product should not kick ass. I'm not talking about this. The product, the tangible, has to be the best you can. I'm saying that these are not enough. Because the product, the production, whatever the procedures, everything you have, even if it is the best, without this extra brand kick, they're nothing. They're like ExxonMobil. They have 300 to make 350. You want to have 170 to produce 700 value, then you need something else. What is Nike producing?
Sneakers.
0% production belongs to Nike. Zero. Nike kept design and marketing and gave production away, by the way, to the same factories that in the other line they produce Reebok and Adidas. Same factory. Would Nike give something important? No. What Coca-Cola is producing? Now, you know the pattern. What is Coca-Cola producing? Nothing. Bottlers produce, not Coca-Cola itself. In our region, we have Coca-Cola Hellenic. In other regions, there are other bottlers that they produce for Coca-Cola is not producing. They kept marketing and innovation. Because these two are the things that develop the brand. Okay? And now, a few weeks ago, February 1st, Alphabet, the owner of Google, now is the company with the highest market capitalization in the world. Which is interesting because what is Google producing? Nothing. But really nothing this time. Let's say we are 1970s and I walk into my economics class and I ask my economics professor, hey, can I make a prediction in the future, in 30, 40 years from now, which company would be the highest market capitalization? He said, yes, do this dissertation. I do the dissertation. I come and said, I found it. What? From 40 years from now, there will be a company that is not producing anything, gives its main service for free. You don't pay Google when you use everything. It's like getting electricity for free. And Google sells B2B eyeballs, which means advertising space and some analytics. And this will be the company that investors will consider the most valuable company, public company, most valuable public company in the world. What do you think that my economics professor would say? You're get out of here, you're crazy. Not only you fail, I called the madhouse to put you in. Do you get it? How it's upside down completely? And the good thing is that many start getting this thing. Many. Even in our region. But there is a lot of work to be done. That the whole point about brands are not what usually the marketing departments deal with. Maybe, as also Gillian would say, big things like big data, which are sometimes, or most of the times, out of the marketing department, is the most important function of marketing. To do the analytics. Or neuroscience, as you will see. So, poor marketeers today, they say, what? I need software skills, I need to understand big data, but I know 4 Ps. You know the 4 Ps of marketing?
No.
4 Ps of marketing. If you go to university to study marketing, they will tell you marketing is 4 Ps. Product, price, place, promotion. This is what marketeers are studying, you know. And I would tell them big data, chaos theory, physics, neuroscience. Say, where did this hit me from? But some get it, that we are in a world of business 2.0 where assets are easy to copy. There is no asset in the world that you cannot have with the right money. But this is not what will make you big. What will make you big, it's the impact of the brand on your business. Okay, so whenever you hear the word brand, don't think logo, think business. Okay. So I studied for a long time now what makes a brand big, what makes it to have such market capitalization, what makes people being fanatic, being with you whatever what, giving their blood and sweat. This is branding. Okay. Good is not enough. The era of good is dead. The era of satisfaction is dead. I can get no satisfaction, you remember, dead. We're in the era of happy from Pharrell Williams. It's a completely different era. Do you do customer satisfaction surveys? Some of you, for sure you have done. There's no satisfaction. Actually, it's very difficult to link customer satisfaction with loyalty. Did ever anybody told you this? That we say marketing is about, and our brand has to be for satisfied people. So are you satisfied? I am. And then we do studies to correlate satisfaction with loyalty. Most of the times, very weak link. So what the hell about loyalty? How do I develop loyalty? How do I make people crazy about me, tattooing my brand, putting in their, on their haircut, in order to have such a big brand equity? If I cannot do it through satisfaction. Now there's a trick here. Most of the studies though find that extreme satisfaction leads to loyalty. So extreme satisfaction can make somebody loyal much more than medium satisfaction. So what does this tell you as a business? Do I need my clients to be satisfied? Okay, great, to tell me, yeah, it's fine. Very good space you have here, Sandra. Yes, great, very good app you are developing, fantastic. Don't expect them to come back again. We have to go to extreme satisfaction, which means passion about you, passion about what you do, passion about your product and your service. That's the only way. So I put together for you 4 easy elements how to develop these passionate brands. And the first thing in economy 2.0 is problem solving. People have issues. Can we all agree? We have issues. We're not happy most of the times in our lives. This is what psychology is telling us. We need solutions to our problems. But we need the no-nonsense, no BS, no bullshit solutions. Not the solutions of the economy 1.0. Company saying blah, blah, blah. Brand story here, reality here. This is not anymore the case. We have to say a story and walk the talk. And we have to be as passionate and detailed and innovative and creative to solve your problem daily, small, it can be something very small, over and over again and again and again and again, which means there is no company and there is no brand without constant innovation. There is no aha moment, I got it, this is my product. Your product and your service is constantly improving. I don't know if you have been to the States lately, but there is a fantastic chain of coffee called Blue Bottle. Have you heard of Blue Bottle? They say that Blue Bottle is the Apple of coffees, while Starbucks is the Microsoft of coffee. So you get the story. And the guy that made this chain of coffees, very profitable, very advanced, he was a musician in some classical music group. He was very unsatisfied here. He couldn't find good coffee in the US while traveling in the world, and he made it. And he has an interview, and they ask him, amazing question, what about quality management? How do you make sure that your good quality coffee or fantastic quality coffee is every day the same? You know what he said? He said, the hell with quality management. I don't want to put quality standards for every day my product to be the same. I want it better every day. That's the new economy. Total quality management, if you heard about these things, process management, all these kind of things are out. This is old world, a world that if you were Kodak in the 50s and I asked you, hey Kodak, who would be the biggest company in 10 years? You would say, of course me, and you would be right. That world is over. It doesn't exist anymore. What if I ask you to bet all your money, whatever money you have here, home, bank, that Facebook would be the biggest social media in 10 years from now? How many would invest all their money? Nobody. 5 years? 3 years? 2 years? You see, this never happened before. You were Ford, you were ExxonMobil, and you were for decades. Now we cannot even agree which one is going to be in 2 years. In order to succeed in such ever-changing world, the only thing you can do is constantly find new problems to solve. But your problem solving has to be practical, not story. I've been to too many marketing meetings to tell you that many times the discussion in even big companies is, how can we give this to our customers to think it's better? To think it's better. Is it better? Well, we will change a little bit this way. It's actually the same, but no, this is also over. You want to be the brand with the crazy followers, practical, flexible, always evolving. There is no end product. I know that your startups, you want to develop your MVPs and you want to start shipping, fine, but it's constantly coming. I mean, even this traditional finished product, the album, is now dead because Kanye West cannot decide when to finish mixing his album. You know, he mixed his album, he said it's ready, then he took more months, then he started selling, then he stopped it, then he's now doing more mixes and more production on the same album that he just said it's finished and he started selling 2 weeks ago. Nothing is any more stable. There is no one product, one service, and let's put now all our marketing behind it to sell it. You know, like fragrance, let's sell it now. It has to come from the beginning. And it has to be value for money, whatever this means for your target group. They need to feel the options are immense. Even if you buy luxury, if you buy Bugatti, in this category, you have to think that you pay the best price for this product. So, problem solving. Second, experience. Your customers have to have an experience directly dealing with you. Also, the era of middlemen is getting, I wouldn't say over, but definitely diminishing. Direct to your customer, direct to your consumer. So you need to manage this relation. You need to be in charge of the data, of the words exchanged, of the history of and the most important, the emotions of them dealing with you. You cannot be somewhere and selling something through somebody somewhere else. And thank God technology allows you to do this. So you need a direct relations. You need to be sincere and authentic because they will find about you. This relationship should not be like old relationship. You know, in the economy 1.0, clients knew that the companies were tricking them. Companies knew that clients knew that they were tricking them, but everybody was buying, everybody was selling, and everybody was swearing against each other. It was a very transactional, a very based on conflict type of economy. This economy now is relational. We talk about relationship marketing and relationship management. You have to develop a direct relationship, and the only relationship you can build is sincere and authentic. Schultz, one of the few marketeers that made it to become CEO from Starbucks, he said, the only currency of leadership today is authenticity. You cannot say another thing and do another thing. You cannot come here to develop an app and thinking, oh, who am I going to fool and how am I going to sell it to make a lot of money? No, you need to believe it and live it and show it, not say it, show it. Okay? And contributing. What I told you, that the finished product is dead. The finished service is dead. You have to constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly being in a modular mode. Okay? And this is because you always ask them to contribute. Now customers, B2B, B2C, they need to feel they play a part in the development of whatever it is that you are selling. So it has to be contributing. Third, connectivity. You will see a little bit later that our brain is a social organ. We don't have connections. You know what happens to the brain when it's not connecting? The neurons, yes, they die. Neurons die. So we need to create a community, a sharing feeling, you will see a little bit later, and an interaction between our customers. So it's not like before. There was a very famous book in sales called How to Sell Anything to Anyone. The guy that wrote it is in the Guinness Book of Records of selling most of cars in 1 year in the US, in the 70s. So these kind of books and this kind of mentality, you know what they say? You know who is the best salesperson? The guy that will go, guy or lady that will go to Eskimos and will sell them a refrigerator. That's the best. Ah, really? Really? Then go and sell them something again. Next time you will go to the Eskimo village, they will take you, skin you, create a canoe out of you, and go to hunt some seals. People interact, exchange ideas, they put reviews of your product, they influence one each other. You have to be part of it, not to be afraid of it, to give it away. This is another big mindset change for marketeers. Before we thought the brand is ours. My brand, my company, my product, it's not yours. Actually, the brand doesn't live in your brain mostly. If you need a strong brand, this brand has to live in your customers' brains. Otherwise, you don't have the market capitalization you want. And the last, and kind of the outcome of all this is loyalty. And I will talk to you about different types of loyalty. Emotional loyalty is different than behavioral loyalty or habitual loyalty. So if you every day automatically to go to Google to search something, this is kind of habitual loyalty. Do you get a kick every time you do it? You say, oh, I'm on Google. Wow, I can't wait. I'm working on something. I have to get to Google immediately. Again. No, it is like going to a supermarket and buying chewing gums or toothpaste or toothbrush that you do it often, you don't get a kick. If there is a problem, this is how habits exist in our brain. They are automatic behavior, but when a problem arises, they have to stop. The brain has to stop the automatic behavior and spend energy. And the brain spends energy. Okay, so this is more habitual or behavioral loyalty. Emotional loyalty is when you follow somebody, you buy something, and you get a kick out of it. Your brain brings some strong chemicals, reward chemicals, some opiums and some dopamines and some endorphins. It does it because you get excited every time you do it. So these two types of loyalty is not the same. Although you can have both in your company, okay? And maybe cognitive. Cognitive loyalty is, okay, when they will fight for you, they will have an argument and they will articulate why they are following you. Then maybe at the end, loyalty can come into your rational part of the brain as well. Okay, so brand value and startups, if this is what we said, brand valuation or market capitalization is what brands are all about. In a startup, that it's not in the market, or it is in the market but not global. What is then brand value for a startup? Because it's not globally launched, some of them they even are. How can we measure there the brand value? Because there are some startups with market valuations of $1 billion, of 10 billion. What is this? Our famous unicorns. The definition of a unicorn is a startup, a private startup, means it's not in the stock market, but it has a valuation of $1 billion. And some have now entering the $10 billion. You've heard about unicorns before? It's the new craziness of the Silicon Valley. And not only Silicon Valley, Gillian was telling me that there are 2 in Scotland now you have. And you are talking to the third one, right? Okay, right. So unicorns, do we have a unicorn in Serbia yet?
We have one.
We have?
Well, if you count some genomics.
Ah, yeah, of course. Fantastic. And we'll have more after this seminar, I hope. Okay. So unicorns, and you know, unicorns are troubling because as I was excited in the beginning to talk to you about Apple and Amazon and Alphabet having all this huge market valuation with very little assets, is this the same for startups? This is 2015, mid-2015, a map that shows the almost 80 unicorns that existed in the US at that moment. You see, maybe you see, Xiaomi, Uber, Airbnb, okay, big names. And you see that the black one is from 2010 to 2013. Then this is more 2005, 2009, and the lighter you go back to 90s. You see that there are many black, many new, which means that there are many new startups that are getting this huge market valuation. But is this a real market valuation? Because they're private, eh? So when you are a private company, it means you are not in the stock market, means there is no demand from investors every day based on your results to set up a price. So who is valuating here? That's the key point. Now, we will get to that. But before we go to that, in less than a year since I showed you this, they increased from 80 to 173, and from less than 200, if I remember correctly, billions to 362 billion. In less than a year, 6 months. What the heck is happening? If we take whatever I said in the beginning about brand valuation, this means that these companies are killing in the market, they are becoming big, customers from all around the world, they are so loyal, they cut their risks for them, etc., and investors want to buy these companies, and they have this brand valuation. So they're great in brand building and in equity, brand equity. Is it so? Is this number market number? Yes?
How many of them have revenue?
Bravo, that's the actual question. Exactly. What the hell is happening? How many of them have revenue? I will show you now the numbers. What the hell is happening? Where all this brand value comes from? Since many of them are not even, not profit. Profit is okay. Break even. They are losing money, big time. Where does those brand value comes from? Is it coming from these 4 things that I told you? From unbelievable problem solving, maybe. From amazing experience they create when they connect to their clients. The connectivity that they foster and they nurture between their markets. And the crazy loyalty that they have. So is it coming from customers? No. Or is it coming from investors? Exactly. And be careful there. Because if all this brand valuation that we said are great brands, we want to be like them, if it comes from valuations, there is a huge problem there. Because you know how they create this hype? Media is involved. So their PR departments, the initial investors are talking a lot about this. The underwriters are the banks that take a company that goes to IPO, that goes to become a stock market company. They put a number they think is great. Nobody says no or yes. So is it a bubble or is it reality? And yes, it's a bubble. Look at the numbers. From Fortune, is the party over? Driven in part by a flood of capital from outside Silicon Valley? Look. Up. Huge decline. In the last, and this is the worst, the last quarter of 2015, the trend is reversing. You never talk about a revolution if this happens. This is too much of a drop. This is okay. This is too much of a drop. And the trend is continuing into 2016. A lot of numbers, but I will explain. Number of tech IPOs. How many tech companies, tech startups went public through stock markets? It's falling. Only 23 offerings in 2015. This is nothing, guys. This is peanuts. Profits. Minus. 6-month IPO returns. What is IPO returns? When I go into the stock market and I sell my company, if I make money. 0 return. So a new company goes into the stock market, and I'm talking about tech startup, and now it's not projected to make money. Okay, Sandra, I'm sorry, I don't want them to scare them and run away and say, okay, now we'll go to agriculture and grow sliva or something. No, but there is a trend here. And look at this. Stock performance of 2015 tech IPOs. First day closing price,
companies on the stock market?
Yes, now. 0, 0, minus, 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 a little bit. The party is
My
over.
company is using two of those. That's why.
Ah, bravo. Ah, really? Yeah, good, exactly. So the picture is clear, guys. It's a trap. I don't know if you're into Star Trek. It's a trap. Yeah. Star Wars, yes. It's a trap. They're attacking us. It's a big trap. And you know why I made this big introduction? Because I want you to get cured from the fever of the investment billions. It's a bubble. It's not real. It doesn't exist. You have to go back to what brand really means, what branding really means, what having, building and nurturing and developing a strong brand really means. It's not playing with investors, finding, all this is great, but nothing comes for free. Your investors will try to make money out of you. Even if this means, I wouldn't say destroy you at one day, but getting you into trouble. Because their goal is different than your goal. And what we have now, you see here the exit sign? You see all these unicorns? They run for the exit. Because now, all investors have cold feet. Oops, the trend is negative. So, should I wait and not go to IPO? Or should I go now fast to IPO? Nobody knows. We are talking about close to, and I don't want to be the doomsayer. I'm not saying that it will happen. Maybe it is a necessary correction of the market. I'm not saying that the bubble of like in 99 and 2000 it burst and killed most of the dot-coms, that it will happen again. And there were great ideas of dot-coms back then, like pet.com, great ideas. But the investors got investment fever. And when the stock markets get investment fever, the stock markets and the investors are still in which mentality? Economy 1.0 or 2.0? They're 1.0. They think as when they had oil companies and they were taking, or engineering companies and they were taking, they don't get, most of them, of course there are people that get it, the new reality. So be careful, because when the stampede starts, you don't want to be this unicorn down here. And this is the two different brands and the two different values. This is the ecosystem brand, meaning investors, partners, valuators, media. It's a short, mid-term brand, and it's based on expectations and fast return on investment to get you into the market, get their money, go invest somewhere else. And that's a dangerous brand. It was great up to now, big party. The party now, I'm not sure if it's over, but it's getting late. You know, the police is coming. Music is too loud. And then this is the customer brand, the real brand you want to build. Users and those that pay for it. These are the only people that can tell you what your brand is and how you are doing. So you might be developing the app or whatever you're doing. You might have so lukewarm customer reaction, but investors might be crazy about you. Be careful who you prioritize. Do you prioritize the investment fever? I will be the next unicorn. Or you prioritize the real customer experience and the real customer value and loyalty. We will see. And what I want to tell you about developing this customer brand and not ecosystem brand is two things. What I told you about loyalty. Is it habitual loyalty or emotional loyalty? You've seen this before? I travel a lot. This means a lot to me. Somebody put Wi-Fi here. It's not Wi-Fi, it's battery. First battery, then Wi-Fi, and then everything. By the way, this Maslow pyramid is now dead. You know, not many people believe in it. I was talking before we started that how many ladies we have here? Come on, ladies. I will be like a rock singer. Come on, ladies. You know, and do you like makeup? 8,000 years old makeup kit was found by archaeologists. As old as we are is our sense of beauty. Never allow somebody like Maslow to tell you first you need to fill in your belly and then to look at beautiful things. This is not how the brain is developed. Okay. So the pyramid doesn't exist like this in reality in our brain, but that's a cool stuff. So habit is putting your brand like here. Putting your app, your service, your product, to become indispensable in everyday life. People will not feel excited about this when they use it, but they consider it a must every day. If they lose it, then they will start thinking about it. If you ever studied leadership theory, you probably in motivation, you remember Herzberg. Herzberg was a guy that came up with one very famous theory of motivation, hygiene factors and motivational factors. And he said, you know, people are, if you have a hygiene factor, means you need something, otherwise you don't engage. But this doesn't make you really motivated. Motivational factors, the ones that really boost you. So your product can be a habit here, or it can be a boost. Means that every time that people think about it, want to use it, there is a dopamine rush. They get excited, they get a kick, okay? Or, and take a picture of this better, both. This is the best combination. Facebook is a little bit there. We use Facebook in a mundane way, let's check, but then you post something happened and people start liking it and replying it. Then every time you see this red thing, you say, wow, wow, wow. And there was a study published last week that Facebook engages some very similar parts in the brain like drugs. You know, you want to say something or? Okay. So if you think this in the beginning. What do you want your new product or service to do? To be indispensable, people to use it every day, but to forget it, to become so part of them that they don't think about that? Or you want it to actively every time to engage with it, or both? Because different design will lead you here. And going into the brain, we have 3 hours more, I think, so it's okay. Going into the brain, the problem with the brain is that they taught us as a school that we have one brain, right? If I asked you to design a brain, what would you design? This wrinkly, pinkly stuff, right? On the top, the neocortex. Well, news for you, it's not the only part we have in our brain, and by the way, it's not the most important either. And they don't teach us this at school. They teach us, on Friday, I have a presentation in an education technology conference co-organized by the British Council. Come there to see what educational, I wouldn't say mistakes, I would say sins we have committed and we have killed creativity at schools, okay? For not knowing the brain. So there are 3 brains. Of course, these are different theories. I like this theory of the 3 brain because it gives a very tangible and well explained neuroscientific model. Some other neuroscientists don't agree, but I think it's getting traction as we go along. We think that this is what the brain is all about, the top, and think of this as 3D, it's coming also from here. But deep inside, if you cut it, deep inside, there are 2 other parts that are very important. This red part, which is called the middle brain or limbic system, it's kind of our relationship center. I wouldn't say so much emotional center because emotions also exist on the neocortex, but this is the relationship center. This part of the brain makes us loyal. And we build a bond, we create a community, we feel we belong together. This is the part that does this. And you know, it's also called the mammalian brain because mammals have it. But insects and dinosaurs and lizards and birds do not have it. You know why? Why mammals had to develop this strong connection and while other animals did not, other types of... But because of mother. Because how many offspring a mammal has per year? 1, there are some mammals that have 1 per 3 years. So if it is our species to survive, what happens? The baby needs to survive. So we need to have a strong relationship with it. So in this part of the brain, there is a nice chemical, it's called oxytocin. It produced that, and oxytocin, we have found out that when we inject oxytocin to people, they become more loving, more caring, more moral, more connecting, more ready to give.
It's also released right after
This is what, bravo. Oxytocin in women, of course men have it, well, women believe that men don't have it, but women release it during birth because of the bonding.
No, because we wouldn't have children.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Why should I bother with all this? You know, insects or some fish, they give birth to 3,000 eggs, they're tired of the birth, they eat 1,000 or they eat 200. Who cares? It's a numbers game. For mammals, no. So mammals develop this part, which is where loyalty lives, especially emotional loyalty. This is where bonding is. So I have in my bag some synthetic oxytocin to buy from me at the end. You know, whenever you go to your customers, pss, 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 and they will become yours. No, there are ways to boost oxytocin. You know some ways to boost oxytocin? Can you stand up? Give me a hug. Good hug though, eh? Oh, great. Oxytocin. 8 hugs per day, the doctor says. 8 hugs per day for oxytocin to be released, so your morality is better, you know, you connect better. But anyway, think your customer comes to your office, or if you are a B2B company and you meet, how can I make sure that I boost oxytocin? And how do I make sure that I relax his oxytocin killing part of the brain, which is amygdala, fear? Because when fear is produced, when you over-stimulate amygdala, which is the self-preservation, and it belongs to the lower part of the brain, then it can take over and that's it. I'm in fear, how can I trust you? You see, it's mutually exclusive, fear and oxytocin. And then there is this last part of the brain, which is the reptilian or original or lizard brain. This is the brain that dinosaurs had. This brain has some very simple actions like fight or flight, you know, when there is a problem. But there's not only fight or flight. There's fight, flight, freeze, or have sex with it. These are the four. That's what it does. Okay. But many people fall into the trap to think, this is very barbaric, very old, very no, because your expertise lives here, the cerebellum. So it's not only about very low in evolution, very old in evolution impulses. Great things happen in this lizard brain, so we have to take care of it. And this is how it looks. This is the new brain, the neocortex. This is the limbic system, our relationship part of the brain. And here is, you see, it looks like a reptilian. It has a tail. And this is what they do. The original brain, gut reaction, subconscious, matches patterns. The limbic system is more behavioral, subconscious, assigns value, good, bad, adjust actions. Fight or flight is also a behavior. While the neocortex, listen to this, the new part of the brain, reflective, conscious, gives meaning, cultural norms, provides reasons, blah, 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 blah. Do you see anything here that says action? Here is action, here is action. End result of the original brain is to do something. End result of the limbic system is to do something. End result of the neocortex provides reason. Write the book, yes. Talk about it. Think about it. Let's debate. Okay. So when you develop your own brands, you have to take more care of these two parts of the brains, these two brains than this. This is very important. It plays its role. I will show you. It has some very specific things to catch it. But it's not the protagonist. The protagonist is this and this. Okay. 500 million years in nature this appeared, 200 million years this, when mammals appeared, only 2-3 million years. So who's the baby? Why do we build everything about the baby? Out of 86 billion neurons, just 16 billion are on the neocortex. So the neocortex looks bigger, right? It looks bigger, but it's fluffy. As we said, blah, blah, blah. The executive brain is part of the neocortex, where we take consciously decisions when we are forecasting, when we are analyzing, breaking down, sequential thinking. This is called the executive brain. But you know what executives do in a company? They analyze, you know, PPTs all day, Excel all day, meetings all day, but they don't do the actual work. Who does the actual work in a company? Frontline staff, back office sometimes, production. Executives sit in an office. The same with the brain. The executive part of the brain thinks, analyzes, considers itself the most important, but actually it doesn't do much. Okay? Because only 5% of the total brain activity is on the third brain. 95% of your total brain activity is in the two limbic system and reptilian brain. Only 5% of the total firing of neurons, of the total energy, is on the neocortex. That's crazy. So most of the magic is in the 95%. And there are 10 times more messages transmitted from the second brain to the third. I'll show you this a little bit to get it. So in this case, the limbic system gives, and we know this because of neural connections, how many they are. Limbic system gives 10 times more messages to the neocortex than the neocortex can reply. So who's the bully? Who bullies the other? This is the bully. This doesn't have the strength. And by the way, here you have the executive brain, you have language, you have motor skills is up here. But it doesn't have the oomph. The oomph is not there. And the other two parts do not have language skills. You know that? This is the language skills is up here. So when you feel that something is wrong, if this brain or this brain detects, because they're very intelligent, detects that something is wrong, you talk to me, you say, Nikos, this is, I say, hey, this guy, he says this everything right, but something is wrong with him, although he says everything right. Why do I say this? How do we feel? Gut feeling, intuition. Intuition is the language of the other brains, because the other brains do not have language. So the other brains, if they detect a mistake or a problem or a trap, they cannot come and say, because they don't have language. So the only way to say to the stupid brain, you know, the big one, the fluffy one, hey, be careful. Since I cannot say, Nikos, be careful, I have to send another message. And it's this gut feeling or impulse or intuition. We have. And intuition is the best gift that mankind has. Because these two brains are really intelligent. This is less intelligent than we think. Okay. So how to better to use these three brains when we build our brand? Reptilian brain, mammalian or puppy brain, because the puppy loves the most who? The owner. It's the bonding. Okay. And our very famous neocortex. Can you please reply to this question? Which one doesn't have legs? Well, because this cannot move you. It cannot move you. If you target to the analytical part of the brain of your customers, they will do nothing. They will agree. They will come to a focus group. They will tell you everything. They will argue. They will analyze, foresee the future. Everything. They will go out and they will not do anything. Because this does not have enough power to move you. It has power only to reflect itself, to think that it thinks. Okay? This is a key issue when you build a brand. The real brand lives in the bonding and in the habitual behavior. So this is where, but this can create problems. So you need to satisfy it, not to create problems, because sometimes when we overthink something, we paralyze. We cannot do stuff. So be careful. I'm saying that it is the least important, but it's not out of the picture. So how do we deal with this? First, you need with your branding to reply to two questions in order for the neocortex to allow the emotions to come out. The one is, me, myself, and I. What is it in it for me? How your brand, your solution, your product comes and solves, what did we say, a practical issue. You have to explain this to me, not only picture this, you have to tell me. I'm here because I do this better, okay, for you. And this is how you will improve your life. But that's not enough. It needs to have a story also. And this is where the brand story lives. And you need to have both. The one is, this is good for you and for that reasons, and I thought about you when I was developing, and this is how your life will get better, professional or personal, but that's not enough. The brain loves big stories and especially what we call contextual learning. Means it needs a lot of connections to believe something. Not just, this is for your good. If you also provide me the big picture, where are you coming from? What is your vision? How this vision will impact on other various issues I have in my life or I consider important. Second, evidence. The rational brain will break down, this is what rational brain does. It has analytical and sequential thinking. It will break down in pieces and it will see every single piece. So you have to have the pieces correct. Which pieces are these? To give it evidence. If you have any awards, put them out there. If you have any statistics to prove your point, some numbers, you use them, but in a nice way. If you have testimonials, yes, because the brain says, if this person says this, I'm similar. Endorsements, if you have some other big brands or some big names or somebody saying, putting their stamp of approval, fantastic. Case studies, did you try the product somewhere and they have some results? Make a nice video and show it, because the analytical brain will see all this and analyze them. Say, okay, if they have this, this, and this, okay. And the last thing you need to avoid now is analysis paralysis. The more the rational brain gets involved, the more stops the other two brains. It's when you think about the problem, and the more you think, the more data you get, the more difficult to take the decision. The analysis paralysis problem is when your brain, this rational brain, is like a car. You press the accelerator fast, wheels are spinning, you're not moving. Okay, so be careful. Not too much information, especially in the first contact. If they get it and they start digging, provide more information later. Because we are so excited. We have the best startup, the best app, the best solution, and we want to save the world. What I have been doing for the last 5 years. On one slide. Well, difficult. Or on my three first homepage and 3 ad. No, it's impossible. They will never get the story as you lived it for 5 years. Because if you throw it like that, they'll say, whoa, 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 whoa. Cannot get all this. My brain doesn't like spend energy. The brain is only 2% of my body, but spends 20% of the energy of my body. It has to save energy. 95% of the energy doesn't go for thinking. It goes for keeping me alive and in relation. Because the brain thinks food, drinks, love, PPT, I'm not spending energy. It's not important for my survival. Okay. The puppy brain. From the 24 more common emotions words in English, only 6 are positive. Did you know this? Only 6 words are positive out of the main 24. From a total of 558, 62 are negative. So out of, in English in the language, 1/3 of the words that describe emotions are positive, 2/3 are negative. Why on the hell? People who were shown photos of bad and good events spend longer viewing the bad ones. If I show you some pictures, flower, sun, sea, a cake, and somebody hit by a truck. And then 2 weeks later, I told you, which one do you remember? 6 months later, 1 year later, which one do you think you will remember more? The truck hitting the person. Even if I, with milliseconds, measure how much time when I show you the pictures, you stay on the negative, you stay always longer, without, of course, consciously knowing it. What is this obsession of our brain? When people learn bad stuff about someone, it's stickier than the good stuff. If I told you, oh, he's fired, you will remember this more if I say he's promoted. What is the hell with our brain and negative stuff? Why 2 times more a negative thought is motivating than a positive one? 2 times, double. Why?
The brain tries to remember potential
That's
dangerous
it.
situations.
Don't forget, it's all about survival. If I went out of my cave and there was a happy person running through the jungle, and there were 2, 3 saying, let's wait, well, I hear something, I'm skeptical, I don't know today. Who survived? The skeptical ones. The other was eaten by the lion. What does this mean for branding and emotions? Because now I will hit a little bit this new age kind of thinking, always smiling, always happy, everything fantastic, and I will argue no. No. You first need to tell me, to remind me the huge problem I have. If you don't remind me the huge problem, the pain, Sales Brain, one of the biggest neuromarketing companies in the world and the one that certified me as a neuromarketeer, has a whole model about this. I think the best model in the world. And they start with pain. If your customer does not feel pain, they will not take the extra effort. The brain will not prioritize energy to spend on the solution. So if I go to you and say, how are you with what you are using? They say, great. I say, okay, I'm happy you're satisfied, but mine is a little bit better. Because you start me from a position that my brain is not ecstatic to make the solution. So I first have to remind you that you're not satisfied. There's a problem. You know how much time you are losing. You know how much energy you're losing. You know how much money. You know how much amazing things you are missing. I have to create, not to create, the problem is always there. I have to remind you, to offer to you, not to assume that you will think about it. So I then will come, no, don't assume. The brain will not do it. It hates spending more energy. So you tell them, that's a problem for you. For you personally, you have this problem. You're losing all this stuff. That's 50% of the story. The other 50%, if I leave you there, you hate me. I have now to do what? Bravo. And when I bring the solution, I have to prove that I'm the best. Because many people bring you the problem, but then they don't convince you that their solution is the best, which is also not motivating the brain. Because the brain now knows it has a problem, but it's not convinced that you are the solution. So you have to do both perfectly. Sales Brain calls it the pain and the gain. Okay. There was an analysis about TED speech. The most loved talks typically evoke emotions. I don't know if you like the British language, but it has something amazing. There's an amazing thing, which is simple, but it's called emotions, right? Now delete the E. What does it say? Emotions. Motion. Emotion moves. Thoughts don't move. So people click, and they found back then that the topics, the titles that had happiness, brain, and coffee have more chances to be clicked and watched. So the perfect topic, Gillian, for our next that should be how the happiness lives in the brain because of coffee. Perfect, we will hit it. And I want to tell you two more things about emotions. Okay, there was a study. They wanted to see if emotions motivate people to donate or rationality. So they asked people to come into a room and take a test, and then they told them you have $5 reward. And by the way, we put you a letter. Do you want to donate some of these $5? And they put different letters, a rational and an emotional. This is the rational, numbers, millions of starving. This is the emotional, a small girl that really will be saved from your donation. Which one worked best? Up to now, you know that the second one, bravo, $1.14. You see, rationality works, but it doesn't work well. This is why we keep doing the same broken system of rationality, because it gives something, but it doesn't give as much as emotions. Double the money, the emotional letter. Now the scientists thought that's not the whole story. What if we put two together, both the rational and both the emotional? Will it boost it more? You know, so we engage two parts of the brain, fantastic, more, and they come out and they combine this 1.43. And now they say, what the hell is happening? Because we don't have a model to explain why this is happening. Why? I mean, okay, people did not react well to the numbers. They reacted better with the girl. When we put it together, why the brain does not take the girl? And well, what the hell is happening? So they devised another test, which goes like this. They gave to people, different groups, to read a very emotional, to do an emotional exercise or a rational exercise. Then to both, they gave the emotional letter from the previous step with the poor girl. Okay, you get it? So to some people, they say, if an object travels at 5 feet per minute, then by your calculation, how many feet will it travel in 360 seconds? Who can do this calculation, by the way? Who said 30? 360? How many seconds in how many minutes in 360? 6 times 5? 30. Great. Now I give you the letter for Rokia, you know, the emotional one. Then I have another group and I ask them, can you please write down one word to describe how you feel when you hear baby? Can you tell me some words? You hear the word baby. You think baby. Smile. What else? Elvis. What? Elvis. Elvis? Okay. Can we discuss this afterwards? Because I'm very sure. Tears, cry, non-sleeping. I don't know if you are parents or not. Now, they both get only one letter. The Rokia, the emotional. They give 1.26. They give 234. And now we have a solution. Now we realize what's happening. When people think analytically, they cannot think emotionally. So when you give people numbers and the stats and the specifications, you don't create a nice background to bring the emotion to move. You actually inhibit. Stop. Why? Because the brain spends more energy, puts more blood and oxygen to the rational part, and then it takes time to switch to emotional things. What I'm saying here, you cannot be emotionally rational at the same time. Choose. And I'm not even saying to be only emotional. Think of your customer journey or engagement through your media, if it is a website, and strategically decide when you want them to be emotional, but when you want them to be emotional, don't spend a lot of time and a lot of numbers, because you will kill their ability to react emotionally. Now, I killed all management in most companies, because management is about numbers, and then we complain we are not empathic, we don't have empathy at work. How can we have empathy at work? We think analytical all the time, and Natasha in banks. How can we have empathy in banks with all numbers around? Then we say, but our employees are not passionate. Of course they're not passionate. How can the brain switch? And do not make the mistake of considering emotion individually. This is the biggest modern fallacy. Don't say, I'm going to create this emotion in you. We are not individual beings. We are interconnected. What emotion you have will pass to me. What emotion I have will pass to you. When you think of emotions, think of group of people and how they can boost some emotion. We are fully connected. A happy friend, if you have a happy friend, it increases a person's probability of being happy by around 9%. If you get $5,000 per yearly increase, it will increase it only by 2%. So you see what has most motivating factor. Think of your customers as interconnected brains, not individual brains. Okay. We are all either creating emotions or receiving emotions from others. So, and this is great because it comes from startup development and most valuable product development, MVP. People activate their social brain for network products. So, how many of you develop such a product in startups? How many are you in the process of developing some solution? Okay, so you do trials. You know that people in the trial will activate their social brain before they activate their individual. So they will ask, will it make me look cool? You try to convince them that that's good for you. And they think, will it make me cool? If I download this and I show it to a friend, will it make me look better? Will my friends like it, accept it? Or I will be the weirdo? Okay. What is the overall social risk if nobody uses it? If, okay, I buy your product, I download it, etc., but nobody else around me does it. And when I say around me, not friends, it could be my business partners, could be other companies like me in B2B. Don't think only consumers. If nobody uses it, am I going to, what's the overall social, the overall social risk is sometimes bigger than the individual risk, okay? And now the opposite. What do I miss if I'm not on it? Fear of missing out, FOMO. Now, this is something you can use. Hey, you see, we talked to people like you and 90% accepted it. What do you think? Then activate the social brain. How will I look if I'm not on it? Because humans have fantastic social emotions. Envy is a social emotion. You cannot feel envy alone. Embarrassment is a social emotion. You cannot. These are by evolutionary biologists defined as social emotions. And you need to use social emotions when you pitch your product. The last one, the reptilian brain. The loss averse principle, something that many now software companies use. They did this experiment, they took a class, they cut it in half, you get a mug. You don't get anything. But I'm telling you, look at the mug, give it to them, you take it, you look at it, you give it back. You take it back. It's yours now, but you saw it. And then I ask you to write down individually, what is the value of the mug you got? What is the value of the mug you didn't get? Which group gives biggest value to the mug? 99% is the group that got it. And it is usually, if I remember the one result is usually $5.3 the group that got it and 3.5 the group that didn't get it, something like that. And this study has been done around the world with tickets, with cars, with everything that you can think, with products, with big services. Why? What is happening? You know what is happening? When the brain acquires something, touches something, belongs to me something, it considers it as part of my self-concept. Giving it away creates more pain than if I don't have it to acquire it. So what's the marketing message for you? Download for 30 days for free. You and your friends download it for 30 days for free. You give the product, you give the service, and then you say, I'm not taking it back from you if you continue buying it. Car companies, they give now their most expensive cars to CEO of companies for a whole week. No test drive. No test drive. Here's your key. Take the car for 1 week. You bring back the car. Before you spent the whole week with the car, you were thinking, my old car is fine. Actually, you don't even call it an old car. You call it, my car is fine. When you spend 1 week with a new car, what's happening? All of a sudden, the old is old. Your friends saw you with your new car. Your colleagues saw you. It smells new. It's touching. Everything is fantastic, like a UFO inside. Loss averse. Loss averse. The reptile brain has automations. We call it brain automations. It reacts to things because of either DNA protocols that we all humans have, or protocols that you learned along the way. Something happened to you, you had some rewards. It is either acquired or born. Loss averse is a very strong brain principle. The second brain principle I wanted to tell you about is what we call social proof. So there is a petrified forest in the US. Have you heard about this? This is fantastic. And people still go to visit it and they steal pieces of the petrified forest. So it happens there also. And they ask some advisors to come in and tell them, what should we do? How can we stop it? Only by communications. And they devised two messages. The first message said, all these people are stealing. Stop stealing. We will end up having no petrified forest. The other message said, you don't steal. Which one worked better? The average of visitors stealing was almost 3%. So the personal message worked best, or stop stealing, oh, you know, everybody steals, don't do it. Now the personal did very well. It dropped it by 50%. So many people do it, stop doing it. What do you think did? 8%. It increased. I'm saying this because when you start studying the brain, you stop thinking with common sense. The reptilian brain has protocols, shortcuts, heuristics are they called, which are counterintuitive. That common sense cannot accept them because common sense thinks that we are rational beings, and we are not. And you need, as a marketeer, to develop this brand, you have to know the protocols of the brain. Why? Because if you are now a marketeer and you said, common sense, I will say, don't be one of these thousands that are stealing. You know what you say to the brain? Do it. This is the first thing that I tell when I advise marketeers in companies. Stop common sense marketing. Because the common sense marketing not only doesn't work, it backfires. Okay. Social proof. So to finish a little bit about how we started, then we say problem solving, experience, connectivity, loyalty. In problem solving, you target the rational part of the brain. How I solve the problem, why I solve the problem, the whole story, evidence. But also the reptilian. Because the reptilian is the habitual. I have to break your habit, right? If you have a habit with a competitor, I have to break it. So the way that I present the information must look like simple, easy in the whole world. Otherwise the brain will think I have to spend too much energy. So yes, you give rational information, but you do it in a way to imply that this is a very easy transition from whatever they were doing before to what they're doing now. Experience. Do you remember what experience is? Not experience with your product, experience with your company. There, you need oxytocin. Hug them many times. Create this feeling of trust, of security, of safety, of bonding. You need them to become your friends. Okay? You have to be authentic. You remember what we say? Direct, authentic. Ask them to contribute. They feel that they're part of the tribe. So this, but also, you have to prove to them every minute. Then, connectivity. Connectivity is hardcore mammalian brain, social brain. You have to connect the brains of the people around you. Okay, but it's also reptilian. Like, not to be afraid to connect, because then they will never connect. And the last one, loyalty. You remember we said habitual loyalty, emotional loyalty, and to be able to argue about this. So do you want to build a new brand? Do you want your brand to become not the investor brand, but the real customer brand? This is what you have to do. But I will not leave you like that. I will tell you a last thing, which I think most startups miss. Have you ever heard, thanks Natasha, we'll talk. Have you ever heard of ingredient brand? What ingredient brand is? Intel inside, you know, when, for example, HP is advertising and they have to put Intel inside and that's ingredient branding. A brand becomes an ingredient on another brand. You know who is the ingredient brand of your product and your service, especially startups? You personally. Are you a brand? If you're not a brand, how can your brand become a brand? There is no excuse why I'm saying this. I know many of you are engineers, from computer science, or you have an idea and you want to give your life to develop the idea. And many of you think, I'll stay behind my laptop, work my ass off, and I will make it. No. You want to increase your brand connection, you are a brand. Not only what you build, you personally, by name, you have to become a brand that when later they will say, this product is by this person, you are the ingredient brand to what you do. Don't hide, go out, become a brand. You will give more value to the brand than the investors of the billions. How do you do this? I love Guy Kawasaki, so I will tell you what he said lately about becoming a great brand advocate. And you know, Guy Kawasaki is very proud and very pushy with his aggressive posting strategy. I don't know if you've heard about the aggressive posting strategy. And he has the numbers to back it up. So the first thing you should do, smooch or smooching. Get out. Get out. Don't stay always all day and all night working on your company. If you cut the time 50% in, 50% out, we are talking about branding. Actually, the latest research about leadership, it shows that the best leaders are the ones that spend less time in the company. What the hell you do in the company every day? This micromanagement. It means that you don't have a good, employee base. Ask questions and listen. Go everywhere. So ask questions when we finish. Okay? And then listen. Be passionate and show passion. I cannot be passionate. Brains, billions, and brands. I'm very excited today. I have to communicate. No body language. 90% of body language is face. So don't, if you see a consultant present, say body language, it's face. We put pictures of many items of many people and we show it to somebody. They will first fixate on the face because our reptilian brain has learned to read faces. Why to read faces? Because our freaking language is only 30,000 years old, 40,000 years old, language. And 3 million years that we exist as humanoids, how did we communicate? If not with language. How did we trust each other? It was not the blah blah. The blah blah can lie. It was how the face moves. It's a big... Yeah, of course, sure.
I would say maybe the neck.
The neck, eh?
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Please.
Because we've done motion scanning of the faces.
Yes.
Face tracking.
Yes.
And reproduction of the performers.
Right.
And you just don't trust enough when you just see...
Only the face, correct, I agree.
I mean, you can do
Right.
whatever you want with your face, with lips and
Right.
eyes.
Right.
As soon as I become
Right.
doing
The whole bravo.
that's completely different.
What's your name?
Vita.
Vitsa.
Yes.
Okay. That's a small of something, I guess. Okay. Vitsa, I agree with you. It's the overall dynamics. But don't forget that we have 50 micro muscles on the face that create 50, from which we control only 2, zygomatic and this. The other 50, and that's a great thing, the other 50, it's 55 also. The other 50, the micro expressions, the other muscles create what we call micro expressions. Micro expressions, like frames in a film, cannot be caught by our consciousness. And you cannot control it consciously. So I don't see it. Even now, if you do something, if this happens in your face, I don't capture it because it's like I see the film, I don't see the individual frames. But my subconscious, the mammalian brain and the reptilian brain decode it. Okay? So I cannot fake it. This is what I'm trying to say. I cannot fake it. I don't have the strength, I don't have the connection to my muscles to do it. Okay? Follow up, always follow up. Do you follow up? You follow up like crazy. And when you follow up, you rock the title. You don't say, following up to the meeting. I'm already asleep. You say something passionate, fantastic meeting, and then you say, hey, thank you so much for that, and that's it. Don't be neocortex driven in your communications. Be reptilian and mammalian. Be intangible. Can people get in touch with you easy, fast? Or you all say, I'm not here, I work on that, I will reply later, I cannot talk to you, we cannot meet now, I'm not here. I mean, I'm describing myself, but apart from that, don't do this. What? We? Oh, yeah, I hear. The timing was not... And do favors. We now know, and this was even Benjamin Franklin had it as a recommendation, somebody doesn't like you, do them a favor. Or ask them, even better, to do a favor for you. But something simple. You know what they do afterwards? They like you. Because the brain says, why did I do a small favor to this person? This means I like them. Okay? So do favors. Don't, if someone tells you, can you do this for free for me? Can you please provide me this? Is it this? Do it. As much as you can. Second, public speaking, and we'll go fast. Deliver quality content. Rock a panel. Rock. I'm not in the panel to say the most clever thing. I'm there to show that I'm a rocket. Omit the sales pitch. Don't go to sell your company. Sell yourself. That's two different things. Customize or no meet your audience. Focus on entertaining, to tell stories. Control conditions if you can. When you talk, always better to talk in the beginning than at the very end. Speak often, or the very end is very good. Beginning is perfect, a little bit after the beginning and very end. Social media, offer value, be interesting. Take chances, bless you. Keep it brief. Brief. Be a good sport, always be helping. Add drama. You know that the emotional threshold has changed? Years ago, we were being moved by less emotion than today. Especially millennials, and I see many of millennials here, they have a much higher emotional threshold. What is the biggest problem in companies for millennials? What everybody's complaining about? They are boring. They have apathy on everything. They're not engaging at all. And you would say, this new generation that are online and doing phone and connected and cool. They go to work and they want to die. They're still like this. And they want to go home. Because they're because the old system emotional environment, it's too little. They need more emotion. So add the drama. Tempt with headlines. I said one very good headline. Rock. You rock your friends, you rock something like this. Stay alive, always be present. So, do all this. And maybe you will avoid, I know that you were dreaming up to now to be a unicorn. I know that you were dreaming. But after today, I want you to dream not to be a unicorn, but to be a wild boar. It's not as beautiful as the unicorn. It's not as magical, but it's real. And you know what? It kicks ass. It even runs leopards away. So, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my wild boars.
Well, thanks so much for letting me be here and for taking an extra 10 minutes or so to let me come and speak to you. Now, Nikos has spoken quite a lot tonight about branding and what it means to be a brand. But what if I told you that the answers to your branding issues, your branding questions, were already out there in social media? Would you believe me? Yes? No? Yes? You have to hear it first. Okay, I can convert you by the end of the day. So, what I do is I help brands and organizations understand how their customers behave online. Okay, because we need to reach the customer. Nikos has spoke massively tonight about reaching the customer and reaching the customer in different ways. But the customer is already online telling us about themselves, telling us about what it is they eat, telling us about where they go, telling us what they like and what they don't like, telling us exactly what they like about your brand, telling us what problems that they have. So why aren't we using all of this information to help make our brands stronger? And that's the work that I help brands do. Okay, so digital. What is digital? What's digital to you? You all work in the area.
Software.
Software, okay. We've got software. Any other takers? Facebook and LinkedIn. Videos, yep. And websites. So it's all the technical stuff then. Does anybody else have any other opinions on what digital is?
Everything that has a screen.
Anything that has a screen? Well, there we go. Right, we're still on the techie route. What if I told you that it's not really that much about all the tech? That's challenging to a group of tech people, yeah? What if I told you it's about the behavior? So disruption didn't happen because we decided to build lots of new technology. It happened because we as consumers and end users decided to use it in the way that we did. And the brands were not prepared for that. And a lot of them have been killed, if you think of Kodak. A lot of them have had to change. And many, many, many brands are having serious issues with innovation because of our changed behaviour. Now, the technology is there first. We did have to create it first. But then there's the mass adoption, and it's completely changed our behaviour. So if you think about, what do you do in the morning when you wake up? Do you reach for your phone and do you check your Facebook? Most people do that before they go to the toilet. That's crazy. Okay, it's changed our behaviour. It's changed how we get up and how we go in the morning. We find out about what everybody else has done overnight and what we've missed out on, or what we've not missed out on, and then we go about our daily business. So that's changed. So when we're thinking about when you guys are building your technology, is how is it changing? How is it going to help? So who wants to disrupt the world? Does anybody in here want to disrupt the world? Everybody? No? But is the world not already disrupted enough? So what do you need to do? Solve the disruption. And you need to understand through behaviour what the disruption is and how you should solve it. So this is what social intelligence can help with. And this, in addition to other market research, which needs to happen sometimes. So if we think about what I do, not in terms of how I'm going to post out, I'm not going to go and sit and be a community manager. I'm going to help you make your communications more effective, make your products more effective. I can spot a new opportunity. I can spot a threat before it comes from understanding what people are saying and how they're behaving online. And I can do that because you guys get up and first thing you do in the morning is check your Facebook. And you post in the Facebook. And more and more people are coming on. Now, some people argue with me and say that the social media sample is not representative of the general population. Would you agree?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. In America, it's almost exact. In Western Europe, it's getting there, and it's increasing here all the time. So it is becoming a really good sample selection. It's not completely accurate here yet, but no research, no sample is ever perfect.
I meant mostly for the, if you include the age of the person that you're testing, probably for the younger generation, 40 and below, yes, but
depends on what platform you're on as well. Because the over 60s, they're rocking it just now, completely rocking it.
So you're talking about the percentage of people actually using it, but what about the difference between the real lives people are living and what they're actually showing on social media?
Okay, so what if I said that as a brand, when we're selling to people, we're not selling to the person who's going about their daily lives, we're selling to the actualized self. And that is the information that I can get. So if we say, and we put everybody in a focus group, or we give everybody a survey, and we're talking about losing weight's a great one. We're talking about losing weight. It's like, yes, I'm going to do this, and tomorrow I'm going to have a salad, and I'm not going to have that glass of wine when I finish here tonight. But then I get out that door, and then I'm checking into the pub on Facebook, and then I'm eating a burger, and I'm doing all this. So you can find, so when we're talking about what it is that we want to do, we've always got a better behavioural picture. And we say that we're going to do these things, but we don't actually, a lot of the time, manage to do that. That's why most people's diets fail. So, am I right? So this is Rory Sutherland. He's the Vice President of Ogilvy. And he's saying that the next revolution isn't technological, it's actually psychological. Do you agree?
yes.
After what we've just spoken about, perfect, that's great. So, I'm going backwards now. So when we think about the lean startup, you guys will all have heard of this before, have you? Okay, so we've got lots of little tests and exercises to make our products better based upon how our customers have been using, what's working and what's not working. The same thing can happen within social media intelligence, and we can begin to test and we can begin to refine what our messages are, also in addition to doing some of this stuff here. So I'm going to talk you through just a few quick ones just now. We can understand our customer needs. Okay? We don't have a product, we don't have a service unless the customer needs to have it. Gone are the days where we would build it and then people would come to us. It actually has flipped on its head, like Nikolaos was saying before, and we need to build for the customer pain point. So there's lots and lots of people, and there's more and more people coming in and developing their own businesses, their own products, their own services, their own apps. You guys here are proof of that. So how do you decide on which one it is that you're going to do? How do you decide on what that idea is? You can find out a lot of this stuff from analysing what people's conversations are online. What are the pain points? What is it that they need to help with? So we can track real customer conversations in real time. That may be about your brand just now. It may be about the industry that you work in. You may even want to track about what it is that people are saying about your competitors. What are your competitors' failings? Everybody needs to have their USP. Everybody needs to show that they're better than what their competitors are. So if you analyse the conversations that when people are speaking negatively about your competitor, and then you can prove that you would actually solve that problem better, who are they going to buy from? Keep on going to the competitor where they've got an issue, or come to you where you're going to solve that issue and you can prove that you're going to solve it. So these are some of the different tools that I use on a daily basis to analyse social media conversations. Now these ones are some of the biggest platforms that are out there. Some are better than others. It depends on what it is that you're looking to happen, but these are the standard ones. They will take in all the conversations, allow you to segment them down, and it'll tell you what people are saying about a specific topic. If we have a look and we want to, as brands, we want to identify what our key messages are going to be. We need to know how we're going to sell our brand. What is going to make people come and buy our brand? How are we going to position that message? So Nikos was telling us that it can't be all numbers. It needs to have a lot more emotion in it. So if we can find out how people are discussing and the language that they use to discuss their specific problems, and we then go in and start using that language back to them, are they going to listen to us? Probably, yep, because they can relate to that story. So I was doing a little bit of study on attention spans and how attention spans have been decreasing. So in 2000, our attention spans were 12 seconds. Do you know what it was in 2015? 8. So it's like 8.25. What's the attention span of a goldfish? 9 seconds. So we have less attention spans than goldfish. How many brand messages do we see on average on a daily basis? Over 5,000. So if someone is seeing over 5,000 brand impressions in a day, and we've only got 8.25 seconds to make an impression, how the hell are we going to do that? By speaking to them in their own language, by showing them that we can help solve the problem. So again, these are some of the tools that I use to understand how people talk in language. Relative insight here, they are specific language and they understand how different groups of people talk. So say you've got many, many, many different demographics in there, they'll be able to split that down to see the subtle differences and how these different demographics speak about a particular topic. We've got other ones here, Texient, they do emotion. So Nikos was talking about emotion. These guys can measure emotion. The same with Tone API. We've got Tone Analyzer down here, so a lot of you guys will be able to code. This is from IBM and it's part of their IBM Watson suite, and you can integrate that and it will help you understand emotion within your own tools. So these tools are improving constantly all the time. What about identifying new prospects? What's the one thing that sucks in social media, or the biggest thing that sucks in social media? Search. There's so much noise, there's so many people, but they don't allow you to find it properly. They don't allow you to connect properly. So how are we going to do that? So we can't just have our social media platforms, we can't just have our profiles and wait for people to come to us. Yeah, we can post out a bit of content, but we've just said that the biggest thing that sucks is the search. So how are they going to find us? You need to flip it back and you need to go to them. Now, I've been speaking to a lot of B2B people recently, and they've kind of hit this on the head. What they've been doing, and there's a bigger debate whether or not that this is social or not, is within Twitter, for example, they have been going and they've been following 1,000 people who are relevant to them and then unfollowing 1,000 people. In LinkedIn, there's a thing called LinkedIn Autopilot. and you will put in the search parameter, and it will go and it will look at 1,000 people's LinkedIn profiles for you. And these people have been gaining thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. Anybody know why?
Because they were first on the search.
Yeah, because you're going to the person and you're showing them that you're there. They don't have to do anything. They get a notification. Oh, look at this person, or look at this brand. Well, that solves that problem for me. And then they can come and then they can engage with you. The brands are not doing that just now. Facebook's slightly more tricky, and I know that Facebook is the big platform here. It's slightly more tricky due to privacy settings and limited integrations into it. But there's an opportunity for someone to come and to do that as well. So we can identify who these people are, we can connect with them, and we can solve their problems and speak to them in the language that they want to do, all by analysing what it is that they're already doing online. Isn't that great? Converted? Thank you very much for listening to me for this short time. Thank you.